Get creative insights here, and lots of ideas for new projects. Many guests who enjoy this bathtub under the starry heavens consider this an intensive experience as well. But this is just one of the experiences that we have that we share with our guests. Sometimes we're bathing in the mud together with a lot of people. We do human mud sculptures and spend long nights with music around the bonfire. We go up the mountains together or meet at the medicine wheel in one of the valleys. And there the experience starts, to be in the middle of nature and to feel it more and more luxuriously.
Und da fängt so ein bisschen die Erfahrung an, wirklich so immer zu spüren, man ist mitten in der Natur und ist immer mehr als Luxus.
It's not an austere life, but instead a feeling experience that nature holds us close and comforts us. Like this wine here in this bathtub, it's a luxury of being alive.
Als den Luxus des Lebens zu empfinden. Und wir arbeiten daran, immer.
We work on building more and more freaky buildings where one can feel this. At the moment, we're working on the third treehouse, where you live in the middle of the tree. In the morning, you wake up and you might have the leaves of the tree inside your house. This treehouse that we are building now is also a musical instrument. It opens like a blossom to a stage, and it exists as 5 giant musical instruments where you can happily make music that can be heard in the entire valley.
Wo man hier fröhlich musizieren kann, was man im ganzen Tal hört. In der Geschichte des Projektes haben wir viel auch schon mit den kleineren Bauwerken.
In the history of the project, we used lots of local materials, mostly mud and olive wood, and other fibrous materials. We learned how to build with these materials, and now we teach others what we learned in regular workshops. We're still trying new projects together with the participants. Community life is a very important element that we try to share with all the people who come. The place is pretty open, though through our website we filter those we invite, so we can sustain the atmosphere. We have people coming and going constantly. Some stay for a weekend, some for more than a year. From the beginning, we have tried to live authentically, like a community that serves the people and is never tourist-like.
To make community life flow easily, Achim has invented a game which he calls the Community Mandala.
Hier haben wir unser Gemeinschaftsmandala, mit dem wir die Aufgaben und Verantwortung des täglichen Lebens.
Here is our community mandala, where we coordinate the daily tasks and responsibilities. Every weekday is listed in the mandala, and there are also task fields. All the players move in the circle, and in that way they find their daily tasks. For instance, I complete a task, then I move further using the rules of the game to find my next task. There are the elves who take over a task for at least a week, like cleaning or food preparation, or the communication and coordination of the place. The elves care for things in a practical way, and define their tasks as well because they bring task fields in or out of the game, depending on what there is to do. All the people who live here take jobs, sometimes because they want to, and sometimes because it is their turn. And lastly, we have the suns, which we give as daily gifts. Just because somebody did something and we liked it, like if someone made a cake or a dessert, or played music while others cooked. If you have a sun, you can move better on the mandala game field, and you can do fewer defined tasks. We've been using this game for more than 3 years now, and have had extremely good experience with it. So we don't have to have meetings, no one does the same job all the time, and everyone knows their job. We really have great experiences with it, especially with guests who can use the game to integrate immediately into the group life. Our aim was to create something like social permaculture, in the sense that everything carries itself and we don't have to check what needs doing or assign tasks. It regulates itself completely and runs continuously without having to put energy into it.
Da ihre Rolle finden, sondern es regelt sich von ganz alleine und läuft kontinuierlich, ohne je irgendwie Energie wirklich einbringen zu müssen.
The eco-village called Siebenlinden is located in the Altmarkt in the eastern part of Germany. It was 1997 when the first settlers came here, and today there are 120 residents. What connects them all is the wish for a sustainable life that can be an example for others to follow.
Wir wollen ja mal ein Dorf mit 300 Leuten werden und
Eventually, we would like Siebenlinden to become a village with 300 people. From the beginning, it was clear that we didn't want to define ourselves as one group or one community, but instead as a community of communities. We call these communities neighborhoods, and in each there's a different lifestyle. The idea is that there is not one right way to live ecologically, to achieve sustainability. There are many ways, and many ways will find their place here. Some of the neighborhoods live in a way that most people would consider to be quite normal. Others have invented their own life concept in nutrition, social processes, and finances. Each neighborhood gets a part of the property after they're acknowledged, and then they can build houses there for up to 25 or 30 people.
die Nachbarschaften kriegen dann einen Teil des Geländes, wenn sie anerkannt sind, und dort dürfen sie dann ihre Häuser bauen für etwa 25, 30 Leute.
Until some years ago, all decisions were made in consensus. Siebenlinden reached a size that demanded another model of decision-making.
Ja, vor 2 Jahren haben wir angefangen, ein neues Entscheidungsmodell für Siebenlinden zu entwickeln.
2 years ago, we started to create a new model for decision-making at Siebenlinden. It took us almost a year to bring it into the form that it is now. We have a council system to which we've turned over the larger part of the decision-making process so that we don't all have to discuss all the smaller things at each plenum meeting. It doesn't mean that people are excluded, because the councils often include many people from the community. But as in the case of developing the decision-making process, some topics take a lot of time. Because of the size and complexity of the community, it's not possible that everyone be involved in every decision. And it's a relief for me that I don't have to have an opinion about every plant in the garden. Our aim is to have more time to enjoy, to do beautiful things together, and not always to have to meet about organizational stuff. Just to have a beautiful time together.
Ziel von dem Ganzen war sozusagen mehr Zeit für schöne Dinge zusammen zu haben und nicht mehr sozusagen sich nur wegen Orga-Dingen zu treffen, sondern einfach eine schöne Zeit auch miteinander zu haben.
Siebenlinden has built the first multi-level straw bale house in Germany.
Das erste mehrstöckige oder Mehrfamilienhaus in Europa in Strohballenbauweise.
The first 3-story multi-family straw bale house in Europe houses 18 people, and it's here. In Siebenlinden, we made a decision to use the straw bale building method, and we've enhanced this building method, developed it quite a bit. There are different kinds of apartments in this multi-level straw bale house, single apartments and shared flats. We showed many working guests how to build and work with straw and mud.
Einfach auch Baugästen da gezeigt, wie man mit Stroh und Lehm bauen kann und arbeiten kann.
Heiko has lived in the eco-village for 11 years. He works in Siebenlinden's organic shop and enjoys his contact with all the customers.
Also diese Begegnung untereinander.
I think the interactions we have with each other are very special in comparison to the way it usually is in the outer world. When I think about living in a rented house with neighbors, I think it's quite different than it is here. We know each other. We have forums. There's a lot of sharing of our life paths together, and this connects us. We have common aims, like environmental awareness, or smaller ideas, like we don't want mobile phones or cars in the village. These are some things that are important to me. Another thing is that I have a son who's growing up here, and it's just beautiful to watch. I love how he can move and be with the other children, growing up in an atmosphere that's very different from conventional circumstances.
Wie mit den anderen Kindern ist, die eben auch unter einem anderen Kontext aufwachsen als eben unter normalen Umständen, sage ich mal.
Wir sind hier im Ökodorf
würde ich sagen, we're an experimental field in the eco-village. Of course there are problems, conflicts, all the other issues you usually have. We're not an island. We're living in the middle of society, but we have the chance here, and for me it's an absolute luxury to experiment again and again, to discover what ways there are to be together, and to watch how solutions are created.
Zu experimentieren, welche Wege gibt's und ja, mitzuerleben, wie es zu Lösungen kommen kann.
Ja, Teil der Genossenschaft zu werden, muss man hier.
In order to become a part of the cooperative, you have to invest around 12,000 euros. We use this money to buy land and to build infrastructure for the community. This year, we will build another greenhouse so that we can provide even more vegetables for ourselves. Everyone who lives here has paid for part of the land, which at the moment is more than 80 hectares, including a forest. It's pretty large property, and everyone owns a part of it. Yes, I think it's a good idea to organize ourselves as a cooperative, where everyone contributes and no single person owns it all. Instead, it's owned by the community.
Davon was hat. Und dass es in dem Sinne kein Privateigentum ist, sondern gemeinschaftlich besitzt wird.
Two independent studies, one from the University of Kassel and the other from the Technical University of Berlin, have pointed out something extraordinary. The residents of Siebenlinden have a 73% smaller carbon footprint than the average German.
Es wurden verschiedene Felder darin untersucht.
There was some research done that showed that we are living more sustainably than the average German in the way our houses are constructed. This is because we only use natural materials that are produced without much effort. The production of the wood, clay, and straw that we use doesn't use a lot of energy, so a house can be built more economically. We use a high insulation standard for our houses, and use wood from our own forest. We've reduced our energy use for building and living to about 80% of the average Germans. Another difference is in nutrition. Our food is mainly local and seasonal. Most of it is grown in our own gardens or in the surrounding area. Our consumption of animal products is very low. Meat consumption is one of the main contributors to global climate change because it uses so much energy and causes so much emission of greenhouse gases. In general, in Siebenlinden, the meat consumption is very low. When considering how to reduce our carbon footprint, a question was, what is the difference between a vegetarian diet and a vegan diet? It's very clear that eating a vegan diet, where you let go of all animal products and only consume plant-based foods, makes a tremendous difference. It's mainly because so much methane is made by more than 1.5 billion cows on this earth. If the number of cows is reduced, the methane that they produce will also be reduced. So we see that the kind of nutrition we have is an essential consideration in the energy that we use for living, and we want to live a lifestyle that is compatible with what the planet offers. Other factors in living a more sustainable lifestyle are things like sharing of community rooms and sharing of machines and appliances that are usually privately owned, like televisions and projectors for viewing movies. These kinds of things are all shared here. We only have community washing machines that are used pretty intensively. There's no rest for the washing machines here, so we buy the highest quality that use the least energy and water. We use things communally. For example, children's clothes are passed from one parent to another. Clothes are not thrown away here, but are put into a gift corner, and the people who like these clothes can take them and use them. Tools are devices that we also share. The whole concept of community works out in the sense that things are viewed to be well used instead of owned. So we use a lot less energy, fewer goods, and we really use things until they have been used up.
Stark zu reduzieren und Dinge, die angeschafft und hergestellt werden, auch wirklich zu nutzen, bevor sie ihre Lebenszeit hinter sich haben.
In unserer Gesellschaft gibt es keine gemeinschaftlichen Antworten.
In the world today, there are no communitarian answers. There's a lot of conflict and competition, and people don't listen to each other. There are such big problems in the world now. People are waking up to the reality that we live on one planet, but the ability to act as one voice is not there. We are trying to learn how to do this here in a small way, and we realize that we are learning a very valuable lesson. We have a big, beautiful open space that could contain a village of 300 people. Currently, we are 120. We already realize what strength and potential there is. A nice poem of Rainer Maria Rilke suggests that we see each other always in front of a huge horizon, and also love the vastness between ourselves and another. We have this vision of being a model society that allows for space between people and this huge horizon. What that means is that we don't quarrel about the dishwashing or aim for very perfect results, like some of the first kinds of communities. We treat each other with open hearts, like in a loving marriage or a close and friendly working relationship. And in doing this, we find that very practical solutions will appear. In every area, we are finding new solutions, like new decision-making models, new communication styles, new architecture, new ways to help the children learn. This trust and friendliness allows us to recognize new solutions in so many facets of our interaction. We now see that the time has come when society is moving toward us. You can see it in every area. We are a growing village where children are born, where the lives of all ages come together. People who do regional development for the government ask, what does a region look like when its communities support each other? How have you succeeded in reducing your energy consumption? Why do you have such a good energy balance? All these questions of the larger society are asked of us now.
Eurer Energieversorgung, warum habt ihr so eine gute Energiebilanz? Ja? Also all die Fragen der Gesellschaft stellt die Gesellschaft jetzt an uns.
Schloss Glarisegg is located at the westernmost part of Lake Constance, at the corner where it flows into the Rhine. We have our own beach with our own shores right on the lake. There's a natural forest above us, with a small river and waterfalls. Nestled between the forest and the lake is our property, and we have a lot of space with meadows, fruit trees, and berries.
Alles, was wir können, beziehen wir von unserem Demeter-Bauern.
There's a neighbor who's an organic, dynamic Demeter farmer, and we share the bounty of his produce. So far, no one has wanted to make a bigger vegetable garden, but I'm sure that will happen soon. What we have now is an organic vegetarian seminar and the community kitchen that provides us with 3 meals a day, a really nice buffet with wonderfully prepared dishes.
Der Anfang ist eine sehr faszinierende.
Our beginning is a very exciting success story. Within 6 or 7 months, we generated more than 1 million Swiss francs, and so we were granted credit by the bank to purchase the property. This came out of the energy of our shared focus, all joined in to sell stocks and raise money so that we could buy the land. It was very touching, very impressive, to know that it was possible to come so far on so little. None of us had a lot of money.
Es waren immer zwischen 20 und 40 Menschen, die hier fest lebten.
Since the beginning, there have always been 20 to 40 people who lived here, with 10 to 15 children. From a business point of view, the seminars and guest services developed most strongly and quickly because we had the buildings. We used the guest house, the cultural center, and the sports center for seminars and for guests. We developed classrooms, workrooms, and spaces for art and for cultural exchange in the schoolhouse. And in the most important place, the kitchen, we cooked for ourselves and for our guests.
Wenn man das beschreiben sollte, was ist ein Wellenreiter, könnte man sagen, das ist ein weiterentwickeltes Monochord. Also
I call this instrument a Wellenreiter, or in English, a wave rider. It sings a progressed monochord. On this part, there are 3 different sound areas. And here, there are 4. In this case, you have a diatonic row with which you can make melodies that you want and then accompany them as you like. The nice thing about it is that you can stroke it. You can hold a sound by staying in a certain area. You can hold the sound or change the sound or volume. You can add other sounds to it.
Wir sind eine Gemeinschaft, die nicht einen Guru oder eine Religion oder eine politische Richtung fest hat.
We are a community without a guru, without a religion, without a political direction. This kind of community provides the greatest opportunity for personal development. At the same time, it's a huge challenge because it offers a place for everything. Our decision-making process is consensus-driven, which is difficult and slow. But in the end, the decisions can be embraced by all the members of the community.
Entscheidungsprozess immer verlangsamt, aber eben dann möglichst gemeinsam getragen wird. Finanziell entwickeln wir uns so, dass wir uns selber tragen können, dass immer viel mehr Menschen.
Financially, we can afford to pay more and more people within the project so that they can live and work here. To give you an idea, from our beginnings, from almost nothing, today we earn more than 1 million Swiss francs a year. We use this money to pay around 600,000 Swiss francs to our community members for their work. Most of this money is earned from seminars and guest services, and it provides enough that the people who work here can also live here.
Dass die Menschen hier leben können, wird generiert im Betrieb selber, im Projekt selber. Meine Erfahrungen aus den letzten 6 Jahren damit kann ich vielleicht zusammenfassen, dass ganz viel Vision sehr nahe bei Illusion liegt und dass viel Idealismus eigentlich relativiert wird, also dass in Gemeinschaft ganz viel aufgedeckt wird von eigenen Ego-Trips und Irrtümern und Projektionen, die man so hat. Da wird ganz viel aufgedeckt, das empfinde ich als gnadenlos heilsam.
In community, the primary thing is inner development, and this is fantastic. For example, human tendencies are to look for someone to blame, to act the role of the victim, to criticize, and always want things done your way. You have fantastic opposites in community that you can use to see these human tendencies, to find your own limits, recognize them clearly, and go beyond them.